Hello everyone, this is Marathon Films here with another movie review on one of my favorite movies, Star Wars. Now Star Wars was directed by George Lucas and was released on May 25th, 1977, and it is a space opera drama. And this film stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Peter Cushing before they were later known in their roles other than Peter Cushing. So, to give a background of the story, the film starts off with opening credits, scrolling credits, and outer space. And what happens is there's a spaceship being chased by another giant, huge spaceship and both opposing sides are known as the Rebels and the Empire. The Empire is trying to get the Death Star plans back from a droid, from an R2-D2, where the plans are then taken by Princess Leia, who hides them in the droid, and the droids escape to the unknown planet of Tatooine, where they meet Luke Skywalker, who is a farm boy living with his aunt and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. While during this time, his uncle purchases the droids, and they're considered his property. But as this happens, the Imperial stormtroopers are on the hunt for these droids because they realize when they escaped in the pod that there were life forms in the pod and there were tracks. So the stormtroopers are on this hunt trying to find the droids. And so as this happens, Luke's aunt and uncle are killed by we don't know who, probably the stormtroopers, judging by the looks of it. And Luke also meets this old Jedi Knight named Ben Kenobi, and they go to Mos Eisley Spaceport in trying to escape the planet along with the droids. And they meet a wealthy pilot smuggler named Han Solo, who is played by Harrison Ford, and Chewbacca, who is Peter Mayhew. So as they escape, they are tracked down by Imperial forces, but manage to jump the light speed and narrowly escape. But as they get out of hyperspace, they try to go to Alderaan, but Alderaan is destroyed by the Empire, and they then go towards a small space station, which is known as the Death Star. And as they land there, they realize the princess is there as well, as what R2-D2's message says. So they go and look for the princess, and Ben Kenobi tries to lower the tractor beam so they can escape. As they are going through with this, they fall into a garbage chute once they save the princess, and they manage to escape. But as they escape, the Imperial forces send a tracking device on the Millennium Falcon and find the hidden rebel base. So as this happens, the rebels have the Death Star plans and form an attack on the Death Star in order to destroy it. And once this happens, their mission is complete. They destroy the Death Star, and Luke, Han, and Chewbacca are rewarded by Princess Leia for saving her and destroying the Death Star. And that's how the film ends. Now, this film has won 6 Academy Awards, including Best Original Score, Best Sound, Best Costume Design, Best Art Direction, Best Film Editing, and Best Visual Effects. I'm only going to talk about a few of these because, again, there's 6 awards and I don't have that much time. But what I can tell you is when this movie was released opening weekend, it was only limited to 43 theaters, and it made only $1,554,475. It was not as big as most films are, and there was no set record during its opening weekend, so it was really on its own. But then later, once they saw the progress at first, they're like, let's share this worldwide. So worldwide, later on, including domestic and foreign releases, this film made $775,398 or $775,398,000 and $7. And it surpassed Steven Spielberg's Jaws that was made in 1975, and Star Wars became the highest grossing film of all time until E.T., directed by Spielberg again in 1982. So Star Wars was the biggest record holder of all time. So, and then after this film was released, and it had more, releases, special edition, blah 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 blah, things like that. In its lifetime, after that, it made 460,998, or $460,998,007. I'm talking a little too fast. And this film was considered, according to my book, I have my film book by Ronald Bergman, states that this was the second movie, other than Jaws, that was considered the rise of the blockbuster films. So the blockbuster films were considered like the big time budget summer blockbuster hits of all time. After Star Wars it was E.T., then it was the Back to the Future trilogy, and then Jurassic Park. So this was like the second biggest film ever. And according to I took an Intro to Media Productions and Studies class this past semester at my school, Bowling Green State University, where in my textbook and in the class we talked about special effects. Now, Star Wars was the first film to use actual special effects, camera work. Everything was camera driven, and the space battles were all just based on computer technology and everything. And back then it was so realistic. And this was all taken by my textbook, Media Now, by Straver, LaRose, and Davenport. And another class I took in my last spring semester, my Applied Aesthetics class, my other textbook by Bruce Block called Visual Story, talks about, Star Wars has many examples of camera work, which, for example, in the opening credits, you get the scrolling credits, and you're in open space. Our audience view, we're in open space for a long amount of time, and then we see a small tiny ship shooting back what seems like towards us, but then as we notice there's a gigantic ship going over us, and we see now that it's the Imperial's Star Destroyer, and it gives us the feeling that, the ship is right above us. Wow, this is so realistic, the ship is right above us. That's how was felt back in 77, how they thought of it. Also, there's this great example that my textbook mentions is story conflict. And when we first meet Luke, there is a lot of conflicts with him. He has internal conflict in him, who am I? What's my purpose? I want to join the rebellion. I want to join this. I want to, get off this. I want to get off Tatooine and be a star pilot. So that's the internal conflict of what Luke is having, of who he actually is. And then the external conflict is, how do I put this? Him starting to, feel the should he really feel the Force? Is he trying to let the Force flow through him? And being trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, which his external conflict is he must believe in the Force. He's trying to believe, but he is struggling. But then, as his mind calms, he knows it's he is one with the Force. So then there's also great camera technique works. One example out in my book by John Lewis, Intro to Film Analysis, says that there are many use of camera wipes, and that is true because as you watch the film, you get to notice, they're talking about, finding the droids, they search the droids, and then the screen does this sort of wipe, to Mos Eisley Spaceport. Luke and Ben and the droids arriving at Mos Eisley Spaceport. And the music, like it is playing right now, the music is just fantastic. It was made by John Williams, original score, just magnificent music. and everyone is just like so like once you hear the music like this, you just know right away, Star Wars. Like John Williams' music is so iconic in this film and the sequels to come. So before this, George Lucas also, now to talk about George Lucas, before this he did American Graffiti and he did THX 1138, which were like his first two films like coming into the film business. American Graffiti was a big hit in '73 and then, you know, got him the chance, okay, to do Star Wars. THX 1132 was like his first go for in a film, and it made a decent amount of money and release. I don't know exactly, and that later inspired, as after Star Wars and American Graffiti, he started his own company called THX after his first film THX 1138. So that's how he became known as running THX, as well as he started up Industrial Light and Magic after Star Wars. So Star Wars was like a big turn point for the film industry, George Lucas, and many other film things and film related things. I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. And also like fan bases, and you know, just I think there's a religion on Star Wars alone. So the fan base is huge. Like there's many Star Wars themes things. Like there's, you know, Star Wars Christmas trees, there's Star Wars ornaments, there's Star Wars who knows towels, you know, clothes, every little detail, book bags, you name it. And it spawned many sequels, like Episode 5 and 6, the prequels. Still not a huge fan of them other than Episode 3. Just my opinion. There was also like spin-offs, like, you know, the cartoon Clone Wars. And there was also parodies, like, for example, Spaceballs. If you have ever seen Spaceballs, that is almost an exact parody of Star Wars. And then there's also another one, Thumb Wars, which is also the same thing. As well as, you know, the old Mad TV show also made many parodies to Star Wars. So, Star Wars is like a huge deal to many people. And even back between 97 and 99, the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History actually had a exhibition for Star Wars, just everything Star Wars, which was pretty cool by the looks of it. So, yes, and Star Wars was just like a groundbreak in special effects, visual effects, space wars, you name it. Like, it was a huge turning point for George Lucas and the film industry in general. So that is my review on, Star Wars, also known as Episode 4, A New Hope. So please subscribe to my channel, like my video, comment, tell me what you think of the original Star Wars, or tell me, you know, out of the original trilogy or the prequels, what's your favorite Star Wars. And again, this is Marathon Films. Please subscribe to my channel.